Welcome to Albion TV presents the AO Daily Show, your source of real news in an unreal world, keeping you up to date on the latest news, events, and the great community of Albion Online. Today is Thursday, the 8th of July, 2021. I am your host, the Shozen One, and joining me today, as always, Bogul.
Hello. What's up?
We're going to do an interview today with Africanow, and then we're going to do 5v5s with the entire cast of Albion TV. It's a crazy day.
Nice.
And I want to get right to the interview because
Okay.
so much has been going on with the war. It's been going crazy. You have the coalition, you have the empire. It's been wild for, since a couple of weeks before last season even ended. And Africanow has been a part of it the entire time. He's the GM of Homeless Crew. He's part of one of those massive ZVZ forces. I think we need to get right to the interview and stick around because we will be giving away gold codes. And after the show, we will have another show where we do 5v5 crystals and teach you the basics. Well, I guess I should say Lupac and Tazik will teach us the basics, and you can hear them teach us in all of its glory at 20 UTC. Well, a little bit before 20 UTC. So stick around for that as well. All right. See you guys in the interview. Welcome to another episode of the Albion TV interview series. I am the Shozen One, and today I am joined by Africanow. About a year ago, we had a talk back when he was in a slightly different guild, but now he's rebuilt the old... who did you used to be with back in the day?
We're Last Warn.
Last Warn, that's the one. And so you used to be in Last Warn, but now you're in Homeless Crew. And
yes, sir.
I guess recently you could say you're not even homeless anymore. You've started putting down hideouts, and you're playing nice with others.
Yeah, we kind of being what we fighted for in season 12, for kind of a long time. But we kind of, when I have like some extra time, we do some role play and be homeless again, etc. We don't even really use our hideouts that much, but we're still trying to go.
Excellent. Before we get into all of this stuff with your current hideouts,
yes,
where you're living, how you're living out of them, why don't we talk a little bit about the history that brought you here? Because, I interviewed you a year ago because you had stuff going on then. It's been an interesting year for you. You guys have done some crazy stuff. Why don't we go a little bit into that history and discuss that with the audience?
Yeah, 100%. So when we get interview last time was when we first hit Crystal rank on Last Warn. That was my kind of first big achievement as GM, and straight after I got invited by you, Robin, and Bogul, and it was amazing. My English was kind of not that good at the time, but I think I perform okay. Not gonna lie. And then afterwards, we spent more 2 or 3 seasons on Last Warn. We did a big season on season 11, if I'm not wrong, or 12. Okay, on season 11, we hit 2 guilds on Crystal, which is like really, really fun. And Last Warn was just we end the days because it was like we pretty much achieved everything we wanted on Last Warn, and we kind of are needing to like a new challenge because on Last Warn we were like fighting, people are liking or no, but we're fighting with the biggest alliance / coalition on the game. So we were like so free, and we didn't get terrorists launched, or we didn't have a challenge at all. We're just like sitting and okay, boys, today we're gonna do like some Avalonia dungeons. Today we're gonna do some PV. Today we're gonna do etc. etc. And it was not like a challenge. And what motivates me to play this game is the challenge. So there was who comes the idea to build Homeless Crew and start this new path from the zero to hero,
You guys have been quite the hero out there in your ZVZs. We've seen you time and time again get completely surrounded by the enemy and do some fantastic weaving and dodging and getting yourselves out of there, and often turning it around against overwhelming odds. You developed quite a reputation, and now you're one of the top 4 ZVZ forces that we could name in the history of Albion at this point. You're doing pretty damn well.
Yeah, I could say season 12 was the most fun I ever had on Albion. It was the season that, like, all the Brazilian community is totally divided between people who like squad, people who don't like squad, and everyone was kind of spread on like international guilds or in small guilds. When Last One disbanded, we created a huge gap because at the time was the biggest Brazilian guild around, and then we just decided to unite everyone from all the Brazilian community and also some English, French, Italian, all the guys who like to play the actual ZVZ, and we put everyone on the same guild, and we start to decide, okay, we're gonna play solo and see how it goes, and it goes so well, that I would never imagine in my better dreams that gonna breed out well. I could say that I had more fun running these 3 months on Homeless Crew than my almost 1.5 year on Last War, because how the way that doesn't matter what happened every time, 3 times a day or 4 times a day, we're gonna be fighting everyone by ourselves. We don't need to care about objectives, alliance, anything like that. We're just gonna go out and bang and like wipe, come back, regear, come back, fight. Was amazing. Was amazing.
Well, you guys are doing a lot of great fighting out there, and it sounds like you've been having a lot of fun. But I guess we can transition a little bit into what you guys formed for. You said you're just going out there and bang, but you kind of were completely against a certain idea, right? You had this idea that you didn't want an empire build. It was about the content. You weren't going to ally with anybody else, but you've put that stuff aside a little bit to accomplish a greater goal, which was the anti-renting kind of thing. I think that was what you were formed over. I'm not sure. Why don't you tell me? Because you seem to have a hard-on for taking down PoE.
Yeah. So it was kind of a context behind it. So on season 12, we started with a huge budget from Last One, the guild that we had for like years. So we had a lot of money, gear, and that's everything we could for like use and expand during the entire season. So I said to my boys since the first day, we have enough to play this season, like playing like crazy, taking fights like crazy, and wipe many times as we can, and we can do whatever we want this season. And like we did like an amazing season. We died. We're probably the guild who most died on the season 12. We're probably the guild who most kill too. So we had all the budget to play on the season 12, but we knew that if we're going on for season 13, we would not be able to do the same thing on the season 12 just because of the budget, and also because of how the game would work. Because on season 12, you had people like Black Order, Sun, and Mudhouse competing on ranks. So there's plenty content, and also on Punchman. So there's plenty content going around castles, small objectives. There's people fighting, not like coalition-wise like we have now. So before, we don't have a actual war happening on the server. So there's not like side A versus side B. Everyone have like 1K members fight each other over a cluster kill. We didn't have that on season 12. And we're happening this on season 13. And like play solo on this season that could not even work for us, because imagine being a solo guild who has like, I don't know, 120 people, and you're gonna fight against 1K people. You just won't have a fight because of how the game would work. And this war would happen with Homeless Crew or without us. So we kind of get entered on a situation that we either need to choose a side and fight for it, or would kind of retard. And retard is not my best thing to do.
Okay. It sounds like you got a goal then, man. It sounds like you know where you're going with this. That sounds pretty intense. You mentioned the goals that people had there a little bit and how it worked last season with Sun and everybody pushing for first. And we see a similar situation going on now, though. And you said that it's different this season. How is it with Blue Army pushing for first place and trying to get all of PoE behind them to push them for their final season? Their last showing, if you will. How is that different than what we saw before with Sun, and how you have to approach it? Because we do still see these guys going for objectives and the castles, and they're going mad for castles and outposts in order to get Blue Army the points. How is it different than last season?
I think it's different because on last season we didn't had an actual war happening between side A and side B. So like on this season, what happened is Blorm is being part and leader from a huge coalition, so they can just have like some small guilds for take care from the objectives on North, and they can show up and play the war. And since we didn't have the war on last season, it was so much easier because when you don't have war, not like the guys who live with you, not everyone messes for every day, because not everyone likes to mess, not everyone likes to play the actual ZVZ. There's many guilds out there who just play gather or PvE. What is fine is their content. But on when the server goes to the actual war, is like call everybody you can, like call your sister, call your mother, call everyone, everyone come play. So that's why it's different, because if you try contest a castle today against like Blue Army or anybody else who could be going for number one when they have a server war, we will not fight against only Blue Army, but we're gonna fight against Blue Army and all the guys that they can bring to their objective.
Okay. That's a big difference right there. I guess you make a good point there, because this war really did start kicking off towards the end of last season, right? Just in the last weeks, we don't generally see that. Generally, when people quit their guilds at the end of the season after they get their time and to get their rewards, they start going to their new home, and everybody's quiet. Everybody's trying to, keep things under wraps and then launch in the beginning of the season against their new enemies. This time, it seemed like the seasons were irrelevant, that the coalition determined that its goal was to take out hideouts and take down territories, and you started right away and you started making a very significant push. And it even changed the way that you guys played, because we started seeing you guys putting down hideouts for the first time, and now it looks like you're gonna lose a hideout in one location and build a hideout in a new location as you're moving to just, what is it? Just scour the continent of these PoE hideouts. What's the goal here?
Yeah, with this war, we're choosing to participate on this war in one of their side. Like Homeless Crew, we don't care about any hideout or series. Or hideouts are plenty just for banker sets and be closer to the fight. I think it's the first time we have a Terry, like, I don't know, in 2 weeks. Now we have one Terry, what is big for us. And hideouts for us is just a place where you can bank your sets and be closer to the fight. The objective of the coalition itself, I don't would say is like go for full eviction from Exxon Epsilon, but it's for, how can I say, for decrease the amount of people that certain people have, like that we were talking before the interview. Like there's many times on season 12 that Homeless Crew was going solo for content and 18 UTC, and we don't have hideouts in season 12, so we need to bank on the rest or either on the city. But there's no castles close to the city, like everyone knows. So if we try to go on, like example, a PoE prime zone, try to bank on Archer rest or Merlin rest, we always had like 2 tier 5 blobs chasing us, doesn't matter where we go, don't let your blanking sets blocking us from going. And the situation is so bad. So I would say the objective for the coalition is size down the other side.
Mm-hmm.
But for me personally, the objective for Homeless Crew, it's when a next Homeless Crew go, when someone else try go solo and play like we play on season 12, they don't face the same difficulty we face on season 12. I think that's my goal for this war.
That sounds very honorable right there. That almost sounds like you're the good guy. Like, my goal is to make a world where people like me can exist. Oh, okay.
I mean, I've been the bad guy before. I think I'm more like the good guy than the bad guy now, but I'm not perfect. Like, I'm not perfect at all. I did some really bad mistakes already on this game.
Okay.
What I kind of don't want to talk about, but I think there was so interesting the progress we did on season 12, and we got so much sorcerer from this, and we know what we can do for make the game better on the future when people don't just go like side A versus side B. or we can have like multiple guilds fighting at the same time in different locations, and not be like always like one zone and 1k people trying to get on the same zone, and half of the guild is outside because they don't have space on the zone. That's the worst thing that can ever be.
So the current massive armies all facing off in two zones aren't doing it for you? Because I know today we saw some of that over in Drivane. I believe it was Drivane Confluence, where you guys had 4 hideouts down, and we saw a lot of queue play as Blue Army went out to allow Steve in, and Steve came in, and then Blue Army came in, which basically forced the numbers change on Steve, and Steve lost so many members that it had to bow out of the fight and couldn't even fight for the objective because of how the queue was just pushing them out. And for you, when 900 plus players come to one location to fight, it's just not a lot of fun.
It's not, because like we're homeless crew as usual to like fight against bigger numbers. Like we always been that. Like we always talk with the guys we play with. Listen, I don't want to be on the main map with 40 guys. Let me be alone on like, I don't know, any fucking map, and let me have my entire Zeg for we can fight against everybody. That's okay. We don't care about getting wiped. We just want to have fun. And when you mass 100 players who like fight together, play together, and have more than half of our guys outside the zone because they cannot get in because of the cluster weight, it not feels good for the player, for the morale, from everyone. So I rather fight more people and fight on side maps and like have my entire Zerg in than only have like 40 guys inside the main zone and just like fight with what you can get inside. I think that's my point.
So you'd like to see a situation where people are fighting over their neighbors instead of fighting half a continent away to end up having these large fights. And if the empires themselves weren't as large, you wouldn't find the alliances that have to face against them as large. We saw when you were fighting in Season 12 that you fought against everybody. You fought all sorts of fights now, and you're even allied with the people you used to fight against on a daily basis. And you're saying that those smaller fights are really good, but when you're
the better ones,
the best that you can have, even
yes.
What about a little bit of cluster Q? That's okay, or is cluster Q?
Cluster Q is good. Cluster Q, it's way better than when we have before that people are messing 2 hours early from the objectives just for sit on the map and don't let nobody go inside. That was the worst thing ever. Cluster Q improved it a lot from the beginning. I was one of the guys who are totally against Cluster Q and all the things are they changing, debuff, etc. But they improved it a lot. The Cluster Q itself, it's still some problems here and there, but it's getting much better. But it's no problem it's being like you, because the way how the debuff works, if you have like one alliance fight against another alliance and your alliance have less people, you get less people kicked from the map too. So if you have like low cluster Q, it's okay. The problem is when you have like 2/4 of 500 people trying to get on the same map. So when you mess like each guild mess 100 players, you get like each guild get like 40 on the map. So this is when things get bad.
When it's too much, when people are bringing those 900 plus people to a fight, it's just way too much. Even 700 gets a little out of hand. The game can handle 500 or so, but when you get above that, the cluster queuing just goes. It can't handle that. The players are bringing too many people to a fight, and you want to see game mechanics or even just the players in your mind now. What you're doing as players is trying to break up the empire by removing all the hideouts, eliminating the ability to rent out for CIR, which will limit the number of small guilds that will join them. You want to kind of break apart the large empire so that you have the primary groups together again. Say the Scoia'tael, CIR, Hammer and Sickle, that's fine. Those 900 guys working together as an alliance is great. But when you add another 1,500 people behind it, that makes it so just not enjoyable in a singular zone. So if they were fighting against each other or fighting against you as different groups, you'd find that a much more enjoyable gameplay experience, and you're working as a player to implement that because the gameplay just hasn't done enough to encourage that yet.
100%.
All right. I like that, man. I think that's a great goal to have, because you want to make the world good for people like you. I'm going to remember that. You know, you just want to make it for for the other guilds, the ones that want to be alone, the ones who need their own space. The last warns of the past may rise up in the future once again.
I think overall, like coalitions and like this supersized battles gonna keep happening no matter what.
Mhm.
What I can say is what we're doing now for get the attempt to get like squad and PoE coalition out of the map. Like even either we winning or we losing the war itself, this group won't remain. Like you said, like we usual to fight all the guys we working with us now for so long. Like even when I was on Last War, I fight it with Elevate, I fight with Surf, all these guys for so long. But the way how the game get it, we was pretty much okay. We can either work with those guys or we can either chill for entire season. What is for a competitive guild is pretty much like a shoot on a feet. So if you gonna tell your guys who just play ZVZ, yo boys, we're not gonna play ZVZ for the next 3 months, and I mean that's not gonna happen. People will leave and try to find something else. So we're kind of forced into this situation, but there's nothing like actually bad going on because it's good when people have like a bigger objective. The small things get like way smaller because everyone is working directly to the same objective. So it's not being that hard for work with people we fight it for so long.
All right, so you're saying that it's perfectly easy for you to work alongside Steve, who I know not that long ago when they were Monkey, you had quite.
I mean, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. Problems always come here and there. Always problems gonna come. But when people, at the end of the day, when people are fighting for the bigger objectives, I can get mad with Steve or Surf or anybody else. But at the end of the day, everyone's gonna see it and like get on the same page and go again for the next day. So that's what matters, because at the end of the day, everyone is going for the same objective. Either this objective being done or no, this is what united us. As soon as we made it the objective or we get beaten by the objective, we won't be playing together anymore. So
and don't you guys kind of have like a pretty loose coalition as well? Aren't you allowed to attack each other outside of those CTAs?
Yes, 100%, man. Like Homer Skill don't have net lists. The only guys we play together is June and Menace. They form a call alliance, and that we live because of the debuff and how we play the game. Besides that, we fight everyone else over any other objective. We finesse on different times for castles. We fight each other, we gank each other, fight against each other, because this is how the game should be. The game should not be like a civilization with like 30k people who nobody can gank each other. That's not fun. So people are like constantly interacting with each other on the Black Zone, and that's how the game should be.
That's good to see. I like hearing about that. As you've been fighting against all of these different groups for the last, I guess, I would say almost 2 years, I've been watching you lead groups out there.
Yeah.
Who was the toughest one for you in ZVZs, including your current allies or enemies? Who is the strongest group you've played against on the field?
Okay, I would say there's 3 really strong forces that been around. I would say since I'm GM, Elevate on Season 9, even I was against them at the point, they're the strongest Zerg I ever see on the game. Blue Army, it's really strong. Even when they're weak, they still perform very well. Right now, they're on the last season hype, etc., and they doing really good. I think Blue Army, Elevate, I don't know. I would say maybe Reject Sanity is performing really well now, but I don't know. Not on the same level as Blorm and Elevate, to be honest.
Okay, well, I have to put the Reject Sanity is doing very well this season. I'm very impressed with what they're doing. It has been surprising, is how I would describe it. Knowing where they came from as, Reject Party going back towards Tea Party and Madness joining together, the combination somehow is way better than its parts. They have performed way better than they ever have in their past. I have to agree with you. Elevate has just been phenomenal since they formed. They're just very good in ZVZs in general. They have just been dominating this season, really. Very impressive. And Blue Army kind of has those ups and downs right now.
Yeah.
Some days it seems like they're old Blue Army, and sometimes they seem like they're old guys in Blue Army.
Yeah, the kind of inconsistency.
Yeah. So what do you think is your next objective going forward? Are you going to be trying to build up that location, or are you going to just start bashing more hideouts in the coming weeks?
We're gonna be working on the 18 UTCs, and we were also working on DNA that AlbionTV usually don't cover. But we're being more impactful on NA than in EU. We already broke like two or three tier 3 hideouts on NA. You can see % draw if it's a red full clean. There's only the last shield hideout from Hansel that we're gonna maybe broke today. Who knows? But the like I said, the objective is to reduce or either break their coalition, and as soon as it's done, I can say for Homeless Grill, we should be out too. We're planning to do like a big movement for next season, and we're preparing this season for the next one.
Okay. Are you, in order to do that, are you focusing on certain groups to put more pressure on them and their relationship with CIR so that CIR can't just say, yeah, everything's fine, even though you don't have your hideouts, we're good, you're going to be fine? Or are you spreading it out and just attacking them all as one giant entity to spread the pressure?
Well, for Homeless Crew, it's kind of different because we're not the guys that do the politics. We're not the guys who like are PMing everybody. And we're not the guys who are like doing the actual politics from the game. Like I said to my guys, like on Homeless Crew, we work like a democracy. So when we do something important in the guild, like when we join the war, all the members make a vote. Each vote counts on how the guild wanna do. So we make a vote about joining this war, and people vote for yes, so we join it. But the way how Homeless Crew play, it's like we're not like involved in politics. We're there to fight. We're the guys on the front who gonna fight, and that's it. So we're pretty much going for like I said to you before, we're going to like a side map, and we're gonna fight everyone else like we've been fighting the last days in Flamok Fork. That is like Homeless Crew and some KDA guys, and we fight Alno, Jackson, Hippo 2, West, all those guys, and that's it. That's what we do. We go there and fight. So I'm not really involved on the logical political things on the coalition itself.
Okay, understandable. I can see how you want to stay somewhat neutral on that so that when you go back to your small allyless environment, you don't have the wrath of the entire world on top of you, okay? Because politics will do that. Politics will do that.
I like my place now because I don't need to deal with the politics. I did it for so long on Last Ward, and the reason that I play solo Homeless Crew is because I didn't want to deal with politics at all. And if you say to me that I would be on a coalition, in 3 months later the Homeless Crew be made, I would say no way, to be honest. So we try to keep as much we can closer to what we're being before. So doesn't matter for a coalition, doesn't matter we rely with like certain people and certain CTAs. We try to get as much closer we can as the content we had on the last season.
All right. Before I let you go, are there any shout-outs you would like to make to any members of your guild or enemy guilds or ally guilds or anybody you just want to shout out to and let them know how you feel about their place in Albion?
Bro, I would shout out all my guys who are here season 12, everyone who stayed, doesn't matter how we did, because we get some ups and downs recently. So the people who stayed, even when we completely change our play style, people who stayed because they believe on the guild and believe on how we play the game and they believe on their leadership. So I'll shout out to every single Homeless Crew member who was here since season 12 to here. And it's been really fun. It's been more fun than I expected to. So I think that's it.
Well, thank you very much, Africanow. It was a great time talking to you here. I appreciate it, and I look forward to doing it again, and maybe we'll do it before a whole year passes.
Nice. I think next season we're gonna have another one with some special things going on. I would say that.
All right. Well, then maybe we'll have to talk at the end of this season, beginning of next season, to discuss those things.
Sounds good.
Thank you, man. Have a good one.
Nice.